general public consumption, those that want to know more about the program. The record is now in session. Like I said, I want to appreciate you. Thank you for joining me this morning. We are only here for the next 30, 45 minutes, and then we shall be done. I'm going to unpack the program for a better understanding. I know already you might have started with the course. You might have started to unpack or to go through the program yourself. But in the sense of understanding where you need to know more and how you can be able to work through the assessments, you will need to attend to these presentations. We always have regular presentations that allow the trainers or the trainees to get an insight actually prior to attempting the assessments. A lot of people quickly go in and start to answer the assignments, quickly, not forgetting that some of those things we strictly look at the attendance as one of the criteria for one to be exited. There are 4 ways and categories on how we conduct assessment. Number 1 is attendance is the priority. Just like the same way you are going to become facilitators who are registered. A registered facilitator must emphasize on to attendance, because remember, assessment cannot take place. Assessment cannot take place unless attendance has been certified that indeed attendance took place. Learning was given to the audience. You have provided evidence that indeed there was some sort of learning from the audience or from the congregations that you have literally facilitating to. So this is key, because we also emphasize onto facilitation. Right. The second part is onto the online information. We have provided to you a series of notes and insights onto the online content. So you are free to read the information online, or you can download the entire pack onto your phones or onto your laptops. When you visit our portal, there is a space provided for you to literally download the learner guide, and we emphasize and we always encourage our trainees to download the material first. Download the learner guide, download the assessment instrument, download the portfolio, so that you can go through as we continue to do or to have our contact classes. You can also be able to run through with the content that you have downloaded, or those resources. So please download the material and save it somewhere so that you can keep on revising and going through. Some of the answers that you're going to need when you are completing your assessments are actually embedded into the resource guides. There is a copy of the learner guide. There is a whole presentations, a full presentation slides onto our system that you can download, as well as watching some of the videos for the previous classes can give you a full insight. My duty is to facilitate to you the program and present it to you how you should be able to maneuver in the times when you are conducting also a class. The same way I'm sitting behind my computer and I'm presenting onto a group, it's the same way you will also do so to present to a group. So I want to encourage you to do so. Now, on the other note as well, I just want to give you a full understanding and a full background. I've been doing this. I think our co-facilitator did present to you the induction part, that the unit standard has got 10 credits. So if you are doing a combo, you are doing facilitator, assessor, moderator. But we always encourage individuals to start with facilitation, simply because it builds your ability to understand how learning took place before assessment can actually be looked at. understand the group dynamics, understand the people that were facilitated on, to understand the workload, understand the approaches that were used by the facilitator to conduct facilitation, understand the attendance of individuals, how frequent were they in terms of coming and sitting or listening to your presentations, or being part of the group, the interactions of groups members, that how were they able to work closely with one another to complete a task or finish up an exercise. And also looking at the time management, looking at issues to do with the group dynamics, the target group, the languages of individuals, and so on and so forth. So we look at those scenarios and circumstances to determine that indeed facilitation took place. Now, before you conduct assessment, you will need to have what is called the learning outcomes that have been provided to you in form of a portfolio of evidence. That's what an assessor is actually looking at. An assessor assesses what has been facilitated, both in the formative way and the summative way. In other words, a facilitator takes 90% of the assessment that is done in classroom intervention. The learning that is given to the participant or to the group or to the learners is mostly assessed by the facilitator. You are the one who does what is called the formative assessment. So if you do not understand the group dynamics, it will be very difficult for you to exit and start to assess in terms of assessment practices using the 115753 unit standard. It's not always ideal. That's why we find a lot of people, they jump and leave facilitator and they only go to do assessor and say, no, I want to become an assessor, and forgetting that it's a build-up from a facilitation to enter into assessment, then exit through moderations. And even though we don't stop there, we have to continue into learning program design and development, because whatever you are going to facilitate, I can tell you now that you will need to have the knowledge on the content, how the facilitation is going to unfold, and what material are you going to use during your facilitation. So you need to have the knowledge of the program design and program development, assessment instruments design, and the delivery of the learning program. So those are some of other extra added programs. People don't see them, but they are most important. So if you are here and you want to embark onto facilitation, become a facilitator, an assessor, and moderator, I will still encourage you, take up also another program that we call learning program development. We call them the material developers in most cases. These are key individuals who sit to program and develop a curriculum or a program content that will be utilized across the entire spectrum of learning. So these people are not only just developers, but they are also implementers or facilitators of the program. So a facilitator can be able to design and develop their own content. So if you don't have the background knowledge of designing, it will be very difficult to come up with those tools that you need or instruments to conduct facilitation. Now, that's the quick overview of facilitation. As a facilitator, we always say that there's so much to talk about, but because of time, we're going to stick to our presentation. I'm going to take you through to our presentation quickly and make sure that you understand much more better in terms of what we're going to focus on. Remember, the unit standard is facilitate learning using a variety of given methodologies. The material that you find the online platform, on the online platform, you will find that there is a lot of content there, but our main focus is more on to completing the assessment that has been given onto you. There's activities that have been given onto you that you need to complete promptly and correctly. There's also a series of other tools that you'll be guided in terms of completing. That is the portfolio of evidence and how to complete the portfolio efficiently, without committing or leaving out any information that is relevant. Now, in the sense of understanding facilitation, there are mostly three specific outcomes that we look at. All right, today we're going to look at only one outcome, but there are always three specific outcomes that we look at. The first one is plan and prepare for facilitation. The second one is conduct facilitation. The other one, evaluate facilitation. So those are three. But before you plan and conduct facilitation, I always emphasize people that we look at the background of facilitation. Where does it come from? How do you end up facilitating? To which target group are you facilitating? Now, before I can present this, I want to quickly take you through one small aspect. Let me quickly get it for you. So, I'm going to go out of this screen right now, and then I'll share with you another screen for a unit standard that we are going to be embarking on. And I just wanna give you a full understanding of the facilitation program and where you're supposed to be focusing your interest on. Now, you will be able to understand that every program is aligned to SAQA unit standard that are registered. However, for your own knowledge and more understanding, you need to know this part, that most of the unit standards and programs now are merging into what is called the Quality Council for Trades and Occupation. I believe most of you are aware of this term, QCTO. Are you aware of that? Right? Most of you might know that most of the programs are now changing. Even if you're working for a TVET or an institution of higher learning, the programs that were registered initially in the pre-registration of 2009, most of them got expired or ended at the year 2023 in June. However, there was an extension that was given to most of these programs, and these programs are now being re-registered currently with the Quality Council for Trade and Occupation. However, there are specific programs that remain, even though they have ended their registration date. They were extended up until 2027 for the exit of the individuals who are embarking on it, or the last date of registration will be 2029. Then there will be no more registration on these programs. All programs will fall under the Quality Council for Trade and Occupation. Now, you need to know about this simply because you are facilitators. Every facilitator, before you facilitate a learning program, try to evaluate if the program is still current, how current it is, if it's expired, what are the rationale related to that program. Is it extended? Is it expired? Is it implemented? How is it going to be implemented? So that you give out information to the right people. You can see as I scroll down, the last day of enrollment, right here, I'm going to bold it here. The last day of enrollment is 2026, June 30th. And the last day of achievement means if you have registered on this program, you must have completed the program latest by 2029. So that's the last day of achievement. Beyond that, this program won't be existing unless there is a moratoria to re-register this program. You can see this program has been re-registered, all right? Though it passed its end date, but it was what? Re-registered. So we're still familiar with this. So this is one thing that you need to know as a facilitator. Before you facilitate learning, you need to verify that the program that you're going to facilitate is still current and is registered by SAQA, and the provider is accredited to offer the learning program. We do not encourage you as a facilitator to give out training on non-accredited learning programs. Please ensure that the training provider that you're working for, that you're going to work for to facilitate a given intervention, they are currently registered or accredited with the relevant quality assuring body. You know, either they must be registered with the Department of Higher Education, either they must be registered with the Quality Council for Trade and Occupation, either they must be registered with the Council on Higher Education, or they must be registered with Umalusi, or they must be registered with the CETAs. So you must verify that indeed that the program you're going to facilitate to a group, individuals are registered with the relevant quality assuring body. That is one key. Number two, before you roll out a program, identify who are the recipients of this program, who are the individuals that are going to learn against this program. Now, the program alone will indicate to you, because it's registered, it will give you an insight what should be the entry requirement of individuals that are going to learn about this program. Now, in most cases, you find that if it's a registered unit standard or a qualification, it will have a qualification curriculum document or a qualification document on the SAQA system. You can Google it, you can download it, you can have it and work with it. Every program in South Africa must be registered. If you are dealing with a non-registered program, it means the provider is only giving internal training. Of course, we have got those individuals who are doing internal trainings, maybe soft skills development programs within a company to upskill their workers on a given product that they want them to advance more on to increase their productivity. That is something different. But if it is for academic purposes, a program must be accredited or registered with the relevant body. Now, if it's registered, it should have an ID number, SAQA ID number that has been allocated to it, the minimum credits given onto the program, and the NQF level. This is public information. You need to know about these things, right? You will learn more as well about the NQF when you download your training materials, or when you go to the content. We have put more details about the NQF levels, ranging from level 1 up until level 10, how they have been broken down or divided into different categories, and their respective, achievement or awards at the end of the exit of a program. So you can go and read much more about NQF levels on our system, or you can go to SAQA to learn more about the NQF level. SAQA has got that free information. Is for public consumption. Anybody can go there and get that information. Now, in this case, remember, every learning program, like I said, that you are going to facilitate, you need to identify, is it registered program? How long will the program take? How long is determined from the credit value of the program? All right? How long is determined by the credit value? You can see here that this program is awarded 10 credits. You get what I'm saying? I'm giving an example, and I'm using this facilitator course or unit standard as a baseline for you to also to implement this very knowledge in your own circumstances. Whatever field that you are going to facilitate in, I do not know, but as long as you're a subject matter expert in 1 or 2 fields, you are able to identify the program that you are interested in facilitating and knowing much more about the program. You cannot facilitate a program unless you know the depth of it. Please remember, a facilitator needs to know the depth of the program. Now, before I go into the program to unpack it and start to teach you or to talk about the facilitation methodologies, the techniques of facilitation, the behavior dynamics and all that, let us understand the program itself, that every facilitator needs to be aware that you need to have a program that you are going to facilitate. So it means you cannot go into a group or a class or an area where you're going to present and you have no knowledge of the program. You need to know the knowledge of the program. You need to have it. You need to understand it. Number 2, you need to know the level. At which level is the program being pitched? It is very important to know at which level are the individuals that you're going to facilitate onto. It is all about knowing up to what extent will you be able to pitch your message. Sometimes you might pitch your message which is at a low level, but only to find that you are training to at a high caliber learners, individuals that already got their master's degree, PhD, but because you have not understood the level of the group, the target group, you are unable to align the NQF level of the program to the right target group. Every facilitator needs to understand the group dynamics, and group dynamics involve knowing the type of individuals or the beneficiary of the program, those who are going to learn against the program. You need to know them. That's why it's always paramount and relevant to have the group profile. A group profile is when you are able to unpack who are the attendees, who are the participants on this program. So you need to have a list of these individuals. The same way when you are recruited on this program, we ask you to send us your CV, send us your qualification. Why were we asking you all this information? So that we can profile you to know at which level we'll be able to pitch a program. So it's kind of a way to understand the learners or the delegates that you're going to talk to. It's very much important. So a profile of a learner will give you the depth, up to what extent will you be able to expand your knowledge, expand your delivery of the program onto them. How long will you take? Because there are some that are passive learners, there are some that are super dynamic and proactive. They are hands-on, they are connected, they are aware of the situations in terms of the program. There are those that are first learners. They are entering into the program for the first time. They have no knowledge and they have no clue. So that needs to be put into consideration by looking at the level of attainment, the level of articulation, and the level at which you're going to pitch your program. That's why NPF level give us an insight, the background of an individual, what qualification must they have for them to be on this level, and also the possible articulation. The possible articulation is the advancement from this program. What else can they do? Can they be able to achieve or to do more other qualifications? If they complete this one, what other qualifications can they be able to do? This one will lead to what? So we have got two articulation levels, either horizontal or vertical articulation. So you can also go into every program has got articulation levels. Either horizontally, they're gonna achieve a given level, within their their workforce, or vertical, they must get another level. They have been doing level 4, now they can aim higher and graduate and do another postgraduate program into level 5 or level 6, and so on and so forth. So every qualification has got the articulation, and you need to know how you're going to actually pass on this information for the emphasis of individuals understanding and buying into their interest into the program. They need to be interested into the program to see the future beyond this program. What else can they do? So that's what a facilitator does. So I'm giving you an introduction on actually this learning program and what you should also be able to observe and put together before you start to implement a given training program. Number 3, you need to know the duration of the program. A duration is so key because it allows good preparation and planning. Without knowing how long will a course take, how long are you going to stay in a class, you won't know, number 1, how to plan appropriately. Number 2, you won't know if you are a freelancer facilitator. You won't know how to price, because remember, as we freelancers, if you're a freelancer facilitator or you are a contract facilitator, you are invited to facilitate ad hocly as of when work is available. You need to know how to price that within this period of time, this is how much a month, depending on the level of the program and the credit values that are embedded into the program. The credit value gives you the time that you will need to complete the program. We will take you into a deep understanding when we are doing assessment, because in Assessor, we understand much more onto how long must you take to deliver a program at the end of the day. But in facilitation also, you need to be aware and advise the training institute that no, this program you say 3 months, but according to the credits value, it cannot take 3 months. It's way less, or it is, it's few credits. We cannot spend 3 months. Why? Because some training provider might not be having more knowledge about credit value. But we know, according to SACA regulation and the norms of credits, 1 credit is equivalent to 10 national hours. You get what I'm saying? So if you have got 10 credits, you are expecting to use 100 notional hours. So 100 notional hours, if you divide them by regular times of your work days, according to Department of Labor, that a day must have at least 8 hours of effective work. So it means you have to get that and make a calculation and come up with the time or the days that you must take on 100 national hours. That calculation we shall do when you are doing assessment, but I'm giving you an insight. You need to know how long a course should take Okay, how long a course should take is very key, because it will give you a proper planning and strategy on how you're going to approach your facilitation. You get what I'm saying? Number 4 is to understand what are the entry requirements on a program. Now, every program has got what is called learning assumed to be in place, or recognition of prior learning. Remember that part. Learning assumed to be in place, or recognition of prior learning. This gives you an insight. What should a person have prior to enrollment of this program? So this allows you as a facilitator, before even you step your foot in a class, to verify the groups that has been appointed or have been selected or have been enrolled into a class. You are able to identify these individuals. You can be able to give guidance and support and advice to the training provider during the recruitment process. When they advertise out there, they know the advertisement must include social level, information. And when they enroll individuals, the one who is communicating to the prospective students or candidates, they must be able to understand that a person to do this course, they must be in possession of 1, 2, 3 requirements. So the entry requirement is key. A facilitator, you need to know the entry requirement. Learning assumed to be in place gives you an insight on what they should have. If they don't have a specific entry level, then you must be able to advise them on a bridging program, a bridging course that will enable them to accumulate specific credit value or knowledge that will advance them into a program that they intend to work on. That's why you find that there's what we call foundational phase, intermediate phase, advanced phase, simply because some training providers are trying to help individuals that do not meet the entry requirement. If they say for you to do level 5, you need to have NCAF level 4 equivalent. Now, what is NCAF level 4 equivalent? It could be metric, right? They might have metric, but without metric, they might have other relevant experience in the field. So you look at all those scenarios. What are the equivalents related to the entry requirements? If they don't have metric, what equivalent they should have? So you need to go and understand the program in detail, that this program, a learner to enter in, they must have 1, 2, 3. Why is it so much important? It's going to alleviate a lot of pressure and workload on you as a facilitator, because you won't need to go to explain things that are literally supposed to be basic knowledge, basic information to a learner. There are some people that enter into a program without the requirements, and you struggle with those people to exit them, because we are aware that facilitators are supposed to encourage and support learners up until they exit the program successfully. That's why we have all these reassessment processes, support mechanism, just for you to help individuals to exit with promptness. So if they are unable to articulate at a given level, it's going to be very difficult for you to support. Remember, you don't only have one, but you have a variety of, or a group of other individuals that you need to support them individually. So if you have got so much of these people that do not meet the entry requirement, they're going to put a heavy strain on you for you to complete the program successfully. You get what I'm saying? So I think I'm speaking some sense here, because it is very much key. When you enter into a class and you introduce a subject and everybody doesn't understand what you're talking about, simply because they might not have got where is it coming from, the background part of it, they have no knowledge. So learning to assume to be in place, or recognition of prior learning, is key. And most programs, they have recognition of prior. What is recognition of prior learning? We call it RPL in short. RPL indicates that someone has got the knowledge, has got an understanding, can articulate, can work, can function. However, they have no information, they have no formal qualification to prove it. You get what I'm saying? They have no formal qualification to prove it, but they have that knowledge, they have that understanding, but they cannot prove it. Why? Because they have no formal qualification. So how do we vet them? How do we evaluate them? We look at their past experience. So we go through the assessment on their past experience. We assess their past experience to determine up to what extent and what information do they have embedded inside of them prior to this program. So we can be able to bring and understand their interest and then be able to allocate credits for them based onto their past experience. That's the RPL, and it's a full RPL process that we shall look at in when we are dealing with assessment, because assessment also needs you to understand the RPL process and how to conduct RPL. So that is the background. Now you can see that before even we have gone into understanding facilitation and planning and preparation and all that, already you know that this is what I must have. We're going to have a short pause for about 2 minutes water break. Then when we continue, when we come back, we shall continue onto the introduction into facilitation. I hope you have got something. If you have got something, you must give me a thumbs up. You must give me some love. You must give me some joy. You know, I need to be excited that people. But thank you so much. I'll see you now in the next 2 minutes. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on to the second session. This session is going to take approximately 30 minutes. And at the end of the 30 minutes, we shall be done. I just want to appreciate members that I can recognize now. I see Vicent. I see. I'm just reading the screen names, so I don't know who is there. I see Arsenic Nico. Arsenic Nico.
Yeah.
I recognize you. I see Joyce Moyane. Joyce, I see you. I see Kenny. Okay, Kenny is our course first support administrator. All right, so yeah, thank you so much for joining me. And I just want to encourage you, for those of you who have not yet settled our fees, please contact now Mr. Elijah to settle up the fees. And if you have got more information that you require or you need support, please contact our course administrator. All right, and then it will be able to guide you and support you. Alternatively, you can send us a WhatsApp on 078-359-6200. You can write that number down, 078-359-6200. I repeat the number, 078-359-6200. That is our WhatsApp number. You can be able to send us WhatsApp messages regarding your course and how you need support, or if you want to register for other programs, please, you can also send us that WhatsApp. We can be able to assist you as well. Please, also, if you need much more information and it's detailed information, you can send us an email on info@bbtinstitute.com, info@bbtinstitute.com. Alternatively, visit our website, www.bbtinstitute.com. www.bbtinstitute.com. Visit our training center in Pretoria at plot number 418 Pretoria Street, 418 Pretoria Street in Arcadia, in Pretoria. Visit us. We are just next to Legal Wise Curator Building. You can be able to find us. Alternatively, you can call 012-884-8031, 012-884-8031 to talk to any of our administrators for your support. Thank you so much. Now, let us dive into this big giant of facilitation. I call it a big giant because it's indeed a giant. Now, every facilitator needs to be proud of themselves, simply because without facilitation, no assessment can take place, no moderation can take place, and definitely no certificate can be issued if no facilitation has taken place. Now, this eliminates all the ideologies of individuals who call you to say, can I have this course, but I don't want to attend. Just give me a certificate. Oh, man, we have those people. So please make sure that you don't fall into that category of facilitators who will issue out and give marks to individuals who have not attended any session onto you and have not been verified as competent in your assessment practices. Please do not ever do such practice. It's a malpractice, and if you found, you will lose your license, you will lose your registration with the relevant quality assuring body. So we need to keep the standard, follow the protocol, and make sure that learning has taken place. Secondly, and I want to emphasize onto this, facilitator, please be a decent facilitator. You know, a facilitation is decent. You must be a decent individual and always articulate to your best abilities that you are a subject matter expert. Do not go to facilitate any program that you have no knowledge about. You know, you must have embedded knowledge onto your course that you are about to facilitate. That's one thing that I want to emphasize on. Please make sure you are familiar with the program. Do not go to facilitate any course without having background knowledge on a program. Even if you are going to speak, you know, there are some programs that they just call you to speak for 2 days, 1 day, 2-day workshop presentations and all that. And then they call you because maybe you facilitated before, and then they call you to another program and say, I can also do that. Don't just assume that you can do it. You need to have background knowledge. You need to know what you're going to be talking about. So that's facilitation. Facilitators, we don't read manuals. We don't open up a book and read a manual. I'll have an example of a book here. An example of a manual. You know, a facilitator, you are reading a manual, you know, and you have a book, and then you are opening up a book. You know, you are reading from a manual as if you are reading newspaper. We don't do that. So please make sure that you are familiar with the content, you have read the content prior to presentation, and you have prepared yourself. One of the key concepts that we need to look at, one, the following outcomes in the first part is what we call the communicative functions. What is a facilitator supposed to do? Number one, take up the role of a leader. You are a leader, you know, in that group. A group has been organized for you, and you're going to speak to this group. They don't know you, you don't know them. Your first presentation will either make it adjacent to them to follow you or to literally not follow you. So you need to be knowing on how you're going to behave, how you're going to communicate, how you're going to, you know, create a strong bond between yourself and the learners or the delegates that you are going to speak to. So the first thing that we have to emphasize is what we call the communicative function. And the communicative function has got another series of things that we shall unpack on how do you now manage a group using the communicative functionality. You know? Now, every facilitator needs to know how they can be able to establish a communication within a learning environment. Now, remember I said at the beginning that you cannot facilitate to a group without knowing the group or the individuals or the participants themselves. You don't know them. You will note that when you are about to facilitate, there are people that some of them might be familiar unto you, some might not be familiar to you at all, more especially when you are introducing the program for the first time. It's your first day into facilitation and you are meeting individuals. Before you facilitate, you need to understand the technique, the language, the approach onto facilitation. That's what we're going to look at. Okay? Now, before even you speak, before you speak out, these are the things that you need to first do. One, prepare and plan for your facilitation. Plan and prepare for your facilitation. Sit down days, weeks, months, or hours before your facilitation and plan how the day is going to be. How the first day, the second day. If the class, like I said, you need to know the NQF level and the credit value. If you know the NQF level, automatically you know the target group that you are going to be dealing with. They might have a background of NQF level 4 or some embedded information that is equivalent to NQF level 4. You know, so you have that idea. Number two, you need to know the profile of the delegates or the participant. That's why we ask for attendance register and the class list. Ne? Joyce, do you hear me? You have disappeared. I don't see people's faces now. You see, like I'm talking to myself. Let me see your expressions, guys. Please, let me see the expression on your faces. Unless you have left the computer and you've gone to take a bath. You know, it's also happens normally when trainees on live sessions, they literally busy with other things. Then they mute you and then put the video off and then they disappear, knowing that this video is recorded. So if I call your name and you're not here, then I will know you're one of the culprits. Nico, are you here? These are one of the culprits. They have disappeared. Right. So now let me quickly tell you something. You need to know about the group that you're going to talk about, that you're going to display or communicate to. Planning is key for you to have a successful facilitation. If you do not plan, facilitation might end up into a disaster. Learning might not take place. because you have not yet planned and you have not prepared yourself. So that's where you find facilitators who go onto a facilitation stage or a podium or somewhere to talk, and they are unable to speak because they have no plan in place. They don't know, they have not calculated their words, their information, and the flow and what's going to come next. So planning is key. In this session, you will be able to design and develop a lesson plan, right? For you to design a lesson plan, you need to plan for a lesson. Planning for a lesson, it means you need to know the group that you're going to facilitate onto, the program that you're going to facilitate onto, that if the program aligns to the group. Number three, you need to know the material that you're going to use. Is there a facilitation guide that is available? If it's not there, you need to prepare one for yourself or ask your training provider to give one to you. What instruments, assessment instruments, are you going to use during facilitation? When is the facilitation going to take place? The date, the time, and the venue. Where is it going to take place? So those things are key during planning. If you do not have those things, you cannot hold a facilitation group. You cannot facilitate any program because you are not prepared. So preparation now comes into play to know how are you going to conduct the first 10 minutes of your facilitation. That is the time breakdown. How long is when it comes in the credit value? How long is the program? The credit value will give you how long. If it's the course of 10 credits, if it's a course of 10 credits, we know that 1 credit is equivalent to 10 notional hours. So if 1 credit is equivalent to 10 notional hours, what will happen to 10 credits? You just multiply by 10, then you say you have 100 notional hours. Now, how are you going to split these notional hours equally so that they can fit within the program? If the program has got 10 outcomes, you're not going to speak everything on the first day, so you're going to split them accordingly so that you know in the day 1 I'm going to embark on to outcome 1, day 2 is outcome 2, or day 3, or you're going to have a series or a group or a cluster of those outcomes. And day 1 I'm going to speak on to outcome 1, 2, 3, depending on the credit value. The program will give you the time, the amount, the number of credits the program has been assigned will give you the duration of the program. Always, you need to know about this part. So your preparation, now you have already planned, but now you are preparing for the class. Preparing for the class, now you need to prepare how long will it take you to unpack the program. What am I going to talk about? The first 10 minutes, I'm going to do my registration. The second one, I'm going to call out individuals, names and mark the register. Number 3, I'm going to look at my introduction and give out the course material, distribution of the course materials to everybody, and everybody knows the course material. The second timeline, I'm going to start my introduction. Introduction is actually bringing in the background information prior to the course and breaking the ice, or setting the room onto, adjacent peace, like there is peace in the room. Everybody is attentive. Remember, the first 20-30 minutes is the time that you need to bring concentration onto the group. The first 20 to 30 minutes of your time is what is needed for you to bring that group into action, that they will be able to follow you. Beyond that, people might lose interest. People might sleep. Have you ever been in a class and you started up a class, but there's no interest. There's still noise. People are still whispering to one another. Others are on their phones. Catch the glance of individuals. Catch their attention in the first minutes of your time. That is all. You are prepared. That is done during preparation. If you have not prepared, you just speak randomly. So there's no coordination and there's no correlation of your text, and people cannot be able to comprehend what is it that this person is talking about. So prepare. When you prepare, you're able to align what is going to come next. You get what I'm saying? That's what we do when we are preparing. That will give you a flow on how you're going to communicate to the group. It will be flowing. You will be having a full understanding on what comes next. rather than now becoming a joker in front of a group, because you have spoken that, then you go back, and then before you know, they start to correct you. Because remember, amongst the group, you might find that there's some that are eloquent, there's some that have got knowledge about the subject, and they will start to correct you. They will start to come in and interject, because they see that you are deviating from the source, and that's happened because you have not prepared. And there's also time on when you bring in other aspects of discussion, interventions of groups and group, collaboration where individuals come together. We shall talk about the critical cross-field outcomes, where we talk about the most 8 used one of identifying, communicating, understanding, and collecting, organizing, all those ones. We shall talk about them later on in the next class. But this is all about preparation. Prepare. Facilitators, please do not go into a class without preparation. It is key. Please prepare. Talk about things that you are familiar with. Okay? Now, in terms of preparation, there are specific things that we need to put into place. What are they? We call them facilitation activities. Now, under facilitation activities, this gives you a full understanding and guideline on what is needed as a facilitator. You cannot be able to hold a facilitation group without mentioning or dealing with these activities. Number one, the social activities. In social activities, those are the group dynamics. How are you going to interact with individuals? Are you going to be so serious, just like me wearing a suit? Are you going to be so, open-minded? Are you going to be, allowing individuals to flow in their comments and be able to interact with another? Are you going to be a dictator and reading out notes? Now, open up page number 22. Page number 22, you start to read notes. 22. No, we don't do that. So in the social activity, it allows us to know the target group, the individuals that have been appointed to be part of our group or our learning. You need to be familiar with. You need to be social to them. You need to be open. When you open up to the group, they will have flexibility to talk back and be able to respond to any questions or any interaction that might come along the way. If you do not use the social activity and the coherency, you won't be able to manage, because then you're gonna be only self-centered. And remember, in facilitation is not self-centered. Facilitation is open. All of us are in one group, in one category. A facilitator is not only the one with the knowledge, but knowledge is distributed across the entire facilitation room. That's why we give them training material. Training material brings out an insight that people can be able to peruse through the material and see where you are and be able to understand what topic are we dealing with, right? They can ask questions here and there. So if you are not social, you have not opened up that social platform, so it means it's gonna be only you speaking and talking, and before you know, people are tired of listening to you, and most especially if you are not friendly. They will be tired, and then they'll start to yawn. Others, they'll start to say, may I please go out? Others gonna go out for a smoke. And if you're dealing with adult education, they will just march out literally. You get what I'm saying? So look at this part is as key. Social activity is key. Now, there's managerial activity. That's how to manage a group. You become a leader. As a leader, you allow people to interact with you, but you have control over what is going out and what is coming in. You don't allow individuals also to step onto your head, because you are so much social and everybody can familiar with you, can just communicate with you and disrespect you. But you contain that in the management aspect. You still flow with authority. You still speak with command because you are the leader. Others are followers. You need to take up that leadership role as a facilitator. Then the last part is the technical part. Every facilitator, you need to be able to present, work with gadgets, work with gadgets, be an intellect of IT. Use technology to deliver programs gonna be very much, orientative when you deliver a program that is interactive program with images and video and graphics and all that, and also be able to work with them. If there's network connectivity that they need to connect to a specific network, be familiar with such, you're able to assist them. So we encourage every facilitator to have the background of IT, please. Go and learn some basic computer skills, right? Come to BBT. We shall give you some guidelines on how to manage a group using IT. Okay? Please contact our office for an IT skills program so that you can get some basic IT understanding, so that when next time you are presenting, you know how to use with gadgets, you know how to use computer, you know how to navigate the internet. Because we are in the fourth industrial revolution. We are not in the old eras where we used to use those olden slides where we project and that's it. Ne? Or we are not using manuals anymore, textbooks. They are moving away, and they are not being used. People are using tablets and laptops and gadgets. They are learning using their smartphones. We need to be at that level as a facilitator. Please know some skills in terms of ITC. All right. Don't be a person who is passive. Now, when you look at the social activity, this relates to number one, promoting human relationship. That's like affirming individuals and recognizing their inputs, providing them with opportunities to develop a sense of group cohesiveness. This is how we need to be. You're not supposed to be rigid and be all closed off. Nobody can approach you. In facilitation, we need to maintain that unity at the same time, allowing individuals to be flexible with us. In doing so, all of you, including yourself, you'll be a better person in facilitation, and your learners will learn much more faster. Number two, in management, like I said, you need to take charge, take control. By being organized is one part. You need to be organized. If you are not organized, you don't have any plan, you don't have any document that shows that you have already been prepared for this lesson. People don't know what's coming next. They don't have training materials. They don't know when is the class supposed to take place. Where is it going to take place? If they are on the link, they don't know which link are they supposed to use. It's a disorganization. Already people will lose interest. All right? People will lose interest. So please be at that part. Then the technical part, like I said, be at the top of your game. Be able to use systems, networks, computer literacy. Be able to do so. By doing so, you'll be able to put and manage your class efficiently. Right? I think we are together in that part. Now, I cannot talk much more about this, but watch out. The next lesson is going to be very hot. Okay? The next lesson is going to be very hot. You're going to unpack the programming part of facilitation, because remember, a facilitator, you also become like a programmer. Because at the end of the day, people, learners must listen, must align with you. So you are the driver of the bus. So the next coming lesson is going to be very hot. Look out tomorrow, exactly 10:30. Be in this class. We'll be able to guide you and support you. Alternatively, catch me tonight or catch my facilitator for a revised lesson tonight at 7:30. He will be in class and he will guide you and take you through into more of the approaches to facilitation, but mostly as a revised or a revision of this very, very class. Thank you so much. If you have got any questions, please send me a message into my in-call messages right now. Alternatively, you can raise up your hand and ask a question. I can be able to answer you. Or if you are satisfied with the information that I've just given out right now, it's a massive information, give me a thumbs up, and then we will be good. Thank you so much and have a blessed day. Okay, I've got one hand up. Vincent, go ahead.
Hello, sir. I just want to know if we're gonna use the same link at 7:30. I need to revise this information.
Thank you so much. Now, in terms of the link, please send to this. the link is standard onto your platform. So you need to go to your learner portal and click onto the calendar. Under calendar, you locate today's date. When you click on today's date or the date of the class, there will be a link that you will be able to click on, take you straight to that class.
Okay, thank you.
Then I've got Nico. Lisa, go ahead, raise your question.
I'm done. I'm done.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about.
Guys. I'm gonna stop the record now. I'm going to stop the record now at this moment, and then you can go ahead and ask your question.